What's going on, everybody? It's Justin Gazza, and this is living in Seattle, Washington. So you want to know where to live in Seattle, Washington? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about exactly that. We're going to go into the nitty-gritty details and the hidden gems. Like a lot of people know, Ballard, Capitol Hill, Kirkland, Bellevue, South Lake Union. I think those are probably the top neighborhoods people search, right? In this video, we're gonna go into all the other ones you should think about. Hey guys, what's going on? Let's jump straight into it. So if you want to know where to live in Seattle, Washington, the metro, the different cities, the different neighborhoods to think about, we're gonna go pretty high level in this video. I'm gonna give you some cities to think about so that you can get out your old keyboard and Google up some of this stuff so you can see where it's located. Maybe in the future we'll do a map and a deep dive and we'll kind of break some of these areas down. When I work with folks here, a lot of folks, they think about, oh, I'm gonna maybe I'll live in Ballard or North Seattle someplace, or, gosh, I would consider Kirkland or Kenmore or Bothell, and these aren't just neighborhoods, they're cities, right? So we're gonna go high level and talk about some of those cities and give you some hidden gems to think about. Local real estate agent here in Seattle, Washington. If you're considering making a move, reach out to us. We're helping people move every single day. Send us a text. You can even book an in-person Zoom. We've got all the details and information down below. Send a text, give us a call, whatever you got to do, reach out to you. If you don't reach out to us, we can't help you. All right, let's get into the list. So what we talked about. Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond, right? If you're working for Microsoft or Facebook, you probably heard of those three places you're considering moving out: Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland. You've probably heard of Seattle in general. Seattle's kind of a big area, metro. The area here, so a lot of people, the neighborhood Capitol Hill, they know about the neighborhood Ballard and the brewery district. It hits the, makes news all the time. But there's some places that maybe you haven't heard of. Maybe Bothell. Like Bothell is north of Redmond and north of Lake Washington. It's a great area to live in. There's lots of different communities. They have their own little downtown. They have their own little area. And it's a fairly easy commute to get down into Seattle. So if you're working in Seattle, or if you're working on the east side, you can come either side of the lake and you can make it into those areas fairly easy. So Bothell and Kenmore. Okay, so that's gonna give you good access into town. Obviously, Kirkland and Juanita are both a great neighborhood on the lake. Easy access to Bellevue and the businesses there in Kirkland. A little harder to wrap around and get over into Seattle just because of the nature of the lake is kind of in the way, but not too terrible. Another area to think about would be your north Seattle area. It's not even in considered Seattle anymore, but you're gonna think about Edmonds. Right on the water, has a ferry access if you want to get over into the Olympic Peninsula. Makes it really easy to get over there and take a look. But Edmonds is one of those neighborhoods that you get into and it has that vacation vibe where it has this cute waterfront, cute little downtown, lots of shops, lots of different restaurants. It's a waterfront, so you have all this seafood, and the way that it's the city is shaped, you've got a lot of opportunity for some great view property, being able to see the water and get out and do a bunch of other stuff there. So Edmonds is another consideration. If you go a little further north, Mill Creek has a great little downtown area. Feels more like a small town than a big city, and another easy access. If you're gonna work up, maybe you work at Boeing and you've got to get north. You got to go do that everything, or you need access. To Seattle. That commute time is going to be a little bit longer there, but definitely a very cool area that not a lot of people think of. Same with like Smoky Point and Mukilteo. Those areas, very cool neighborhoods, cool cities with great water views and access and stuff like that. So definitely something to think about. If you're thinking about moving, further north, I would look into those cities there. A lot of people, they know that, the lower Queen Anne, or what on the map they call it Uptown, but local people here, they call it Lower Queen Anne, is gonna have an in-town. It's probably one of the, we expect to see, our downtown core, through the pandemic, we saw a lot of people leave, but we're starting to see a lot of people come back into those denser areas. So Lower Queen Anne is probably one of those areas that a lot of people kind of forgot about, that has really, really great access to downtown Seattle, has good access to South Lake Union, and has its own kind of mini city vibe. It's everything that you could want is right there in Lower Queen Anne, walking distance. Almost has the same kind of feel as Capitol Hill, but just a little slower pace, just a little bit slower. Where Capitol Hill is moving and shaking, there's a lot of stuff going on. Lower Queen Anne is a notch below that. So a couple other areas to think about, where to live in the Seattle area is South Seattle, Columbia City. So Columbia City stands out because it has kind of its own little downtown district, shops and a lot of restaurants there, some great old turn-of-the-century homes. We're starting to see an infill of townhomes there, but you're connected to the light rail on that side. Real easy access to get north and south, easy access to the airport because of that light rail. And the Columbia City really is distinctive in and of itself. And there's a couple other neighborhoods next to Columbia City. Genesee is one, but that Columbia City, if you haven't heard of it, definitely look it up. It has its own vibe, it has its own appeal, and it has good access because of that light rail that had come in. Another kind of hidden gem that gives you more of an opportunity for more bang for your buck is going to be out in Renton, in the Renton Highlands area. Renton in general has really good access to the east side, so you can come, and that's going to be south of Bellevue. Work your way up into Bellevue. You're going to have good access to I-5 and the airport down in SeaTac, and it's just going to have a different, more of a suburban feel with a lot of amenities close by. So that's definitely another area to think about. We talked about Edmonds. So as you move further south, there's some other areas that capture some attention because of the bang for your buck, and that's going to be North Tacoma and Northeast Tacoma. Now, I wouldn't probably recommend living there and commuting daily into Seattle. A lot of people do it, and a lot of people do it because you can get so much more bang for your buck. But you really are going to be spending a lot of time in traffic, commuting up I-5 through that traffic. If that's something that's okay with you, totally get it. Or maybe you work south and you're connected to JBLM, and those areas make sense for you to live in. Even that would be unless you're really working in Tacoma. I wouldn't really recommend living down there and expecting to commute up. Although people make that commute all the time. People commute from the Key Peninsula, from Gig Harbor, from East Tacoma, North Tacoma, Northeast Tacoma, all the way up. But insofar as a hidden gem, something to think about would be that North Tacoma, that Ruston, West Tacoma, all on that peninsula. That was kind of a peninsula or a point that's close to Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium and Park. So that area, and then there's Northeast Tacoma, which is on the other side of I think Commencement Bay. I think that's what is there, Commencement Bay, and the Tacoma Port. And your Browns Point is really kind of the center point of that Northeast Tacoma, and then you can wind up into Des Moines and Three Tree Point, which is a very cool neighborhood in Des Moines. And then another kind of hidden gem, and we hate to bring too much attention to it because we love it so much, is where we grew up, is Gig Harbor. And so I've known a ton of people that You know, every year I help people move down to Gig Harbor from Seattle. Growing up in the area, I know it pretty well. And we see, you know, even growing up, we saw a lot of people make that commute here up into Seattle. And you know, it's one of the spots that you can really get some great access to waterfront property, Gig Harbor, Port Orchard, and even some parts of Bremerton, where the waterfront is exponentially less expensive because it's further away from Seattle. But if you can swing it, you know, Horsehead Bay and Gig Harbor, living in the harbor and the Gig Harbor proper, Watchet, amazing, beautiful areas. And so those are some of the things, like if you want to know where to live in Seattle, truly, it's going to come down to commute time if you have to commute. And then once you figure out that commute time, you want to balance that with what kind of lifestyle you're really looking for. So if you lived in Bothell and up north, you have plenty of access to the museums and restaurants in Bellevue, and even just the restaurants in Bothell. There's plenty to do. Easy access to Seattle museums and restaurants. Are you going to be able to get out and do that every single day? If your lifestyle is that you want to eat out every day, right? And you want to go to restaurants every day, and you don't mind the density of Capitol Hill, and really maybe that's your thing. Maybe that vibrant you know, area of Capitol Hill is more your vibe. It's there's always stuff going on. Maybe that makes more sense for your South Lake Union with their access. The thing that's different between South Lake Union, Belltown, and downtown Seattle versus Capitol Hill, a lot of South Lake Union, those restaurants and stuff are built around, those lunch spots are built on supporting like the Amazon and the Facebook and the offices that are down there. So, but you'll see a lot of that South Lake Union and those areas, those businesses are built around supporting those offices versus Capitol Hill. A lot of those places are built on supporting the neighborhood, the people that live there. So when I think about, you know, hidden gems and stuff, I want to go deep into, you know, kind of what your lifestyle looks like. Are you know, paddleboarding all the time and you want good access to that? You got a rack on your car. Where are you going to go paddleboarding and do that sort of thing? Are you in the mountains all the time? Is that like the most important thing, you know, next to your work balance? Like what area makes the most sense? Do you want nice and quiet, no thoroughfare streets so that you can get a good night's rest? Are you super sensitive to that sound? Maybe further out is a little bit better. If you're coming from a big city, and this is, you know, I'll probably mention this in more than one video, but Seattle isn't a 24-hour city. It's an 18-hour city at best. You know, the bars and breweries are open late, sure, but most of the breweries close at 10, right? And so a lot of these places are built in neighborhood, and there's noise ordinances and stuff. So unless you're in some of those very densely populated areas, you're not going to have a lot of traffic or whatever, not a lot of noise comparatively, right? If you grew up here, you might feel like, you know, there's a lot going on. But if you're from a real, you know, big city, Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, it's vastly different. So I hope that gives you guys some ideas on different cities to look up, not just Ballard, not just Bellevue, not just, you know, downtown Seattle, South Lake Union, not just Kirkland, Juanita, Redmond. You know, let's think about Kenmore and Bothell. Let's think about Mill Creek and Edmonds. Let's think about, you know, even getting down into Renton and Kent and taking a look. Federal Way, there's some great options. And there's some great waterfront that zips in around. We're surrounded by water, so you can, you know, if you're willing, you know, depending on what your budget is, you can really find some cool stuff here. So really appreciate you guys checking out this video. Hopefully that gives you some ideas, some stuff to check out. We're helping people move all the time. If you want to have a conversation or kind of see what your vibe might be the best fit, what area, we're always glad to connect. Reach out, schedule an in-person with us, or give us a call, shoot us a text, and we'll see you in the next video. Talk to you.